Hey YouTube, Galaxy Mom here. It looks like Dead by Daylight dropped a developer update just a little bit ago, and I can already see right off the bat it's going to be a big one. They say right here that Freddy's getting a rework, so let's go ahead and jump into it and see what's going on. This is super exciting. Nightmare, major update. The Nightmare. Freddy Krueger himself is one of horror's most iconic slashers. While he's proven himself to be a formidable foe for newer players, he's begun to feel a little left behind in Dead by Daylight's current landscape. We're excited to help players rediscover the macabre joy of dawning into the signature sweater and wreaking havoc like only Freddy can. We've made several adjustments to his power, which should help Freddy feel like the dream demon he was always destined to be. Our philosophy was to make the dream world's presence affect survivors even when they're awake, giving the Nightmare a consistently threatening edge with more flexibility than ever before. All right. So the first change, press active ability to swap between dream snares and dream pallets. Okay. So no more add-ons to get dream pallets. He just has both of them by default. All right. Dev note, this has been long requested, and we're thrilled to finally make it happen. With consistent access to two impactful abilities, the Nightmare can live up to his name by slowing survivors down and shattering them psychologically. Having the ability to quickly swap between powers as the added benefit of raising the killer's skill ceiling while providing him with two different tools to utilize in a chase. Okay, that's fair. I'm not super thrilled about Dream Snares still being one of his primary abilities. It has so much overlap with Clown without being anywhere near as strong that it kind of weakens his identity a little bit. But let's see what other changes that they're making here. All right, new. Dream Snares now move at 12 meters a second with a cooldown of 5 seconds. They can go through walls and upstairs, but not off ledges. Also new, Dream Snares now have unique interactions with survivors, whether they're asleep or awake. Sleeping survivors will be hindered for 4 seconds, while awake survivors will gain 30 seconds on their sleep meter. Okay, well, I am immediately have egg on my face. Dev note, this change grants the Nightmare additional flexibility while using the snare, allowing him to use them against a wider variety of opponents. Making it so survivors don't need to be asleep to be affected will make quite the impact, not just on a power level, but thematically as well. So walking over the Dream Snare will put survivors to sleep more quickly, which means he'll have access to the hindered in a chase more frequently. They move at 12 meters a second. That's so interesting. They can go through walls and upstairs, but not off ledges. I wonder how this motion works. Can he target them and move them? Do they move on their own? Very interesting. All right, new for Dream Pallets. Dream Pallets can be triggered to explode in a geyser of blood. The explosion occurs 1.5 seconds after activation with a 3-meter radius. When a sleeping survivor is hit, they become injured. When an awake survivor is hit, they gain 60 seconds on their sleep timer. 1.5 seconds after activation, 3-meter radius, so it's not huge, and there's a little bit of a delay. Interesting. Dev note, Dream Pallets have been a fun and rewarding way to mind game survivors, and we wanted to add even more benefit to landing a successful deception. Now, even if the survivor does manage to escape the chase, they run the risk of sustaining a dark souvenir to remember you by. So they're suggesting using an outside of chase to get a hit. I guess if you see someone run under a Dream Pallet in the distance, you could maybe try to hit them with this. Not as useful in chase, right? Because chances are, if you're in chase and they're going under a Dream Pallet, you're going to be getting the hit anyway. Interesting. We'll have to see how this looks in game, as well as how the tokens work, because I don't know if they didn't really clarify if the snares and the pallets had separate tokens, right? Interesting. Okay. Oh, this is huge. I'm already seeing this. New, the Nightmare can now teleport to completed, blocked, and endgame generators. Thank you. Oh my god, thank you. As well as any survivor healing in the dream world? Whoa. Dream projection on a healing survivor will teleport the Nightmare within 12 meters of their position. Upon completing a teleport, survivors within 8 meters will be revealed with killer instinct and gain 15 seconds to their sleep meter. So it says they'll be teleported within 12 meters of their position. Is there a minimum distance? It just can't be greater than 12 meters? And if that teleport is within 8 meters, you'll get the killer instinct. That's Z block, right? So it's a Z block base kit when teleporting to survivors. So if they're healing in the dream world, you can teleport to them. I wonder how this is going to work, because how are you going to target them? They would have to be revealed to you in some way, right? Well, let's keep reading. Change. The teleport cooldown has been decreased from 45 to 30 seconds. And teleport can no longer be canceled. Okay. So that's class photo, right? So that's a bit of a nerf to faking out the teleport. Dev note, an important part of the Nightmare's playstyle is creating the illusion of being everywhere at once. And his dream projection is a major part of that. We made a few changes to make this even more effective and remove the pain point having survivor progress rendering the Nightmare's power obsolete. So obviously teleporting to completed generators is huge. That's been a huge point of contention for a while now with this teleport ability. The teleport is great. It's actually makes him not absolutely terrible and gives him some of the best map mobility in the game. But every time gen is completed, you just get completely locked out. And then, of course, in the end game, you just can't use your teleport power at all, which significantly decreases power in the end game, which is ironic because he's really kind of considered an end game killer in a lot of ways with his perks and that sort of thing. So obviously that's huge. It's interesting that the teleport can no longer be canceled, though. I guess realistically, the teleport faking was more of a mind game that worked on weaker survivors. I think really good survivors didn't generally get faked out by this, especially not like in a chase. Interesting. Lower cooldown, though. I mean, 15 seconds is huge. Being able to use the teleport more frequently is obviously great, and that probably outweighs the ability to cancel the teleport. Interesting. Teleporting to healing survivors. Wow. All right. Finally, the dream world. Don't let the name deceive you. The psychological torture chamber is far from a dream. We wanted this update to inject sleeping survivors with a sense of terror, paranoia, and urgency, so we made a few small but crucial tweaks. New. In the dream world, healing survivors will be revealed by killer instinct for as long as they're healing, lingering for 3 seconds once they stop, allowing the nightmare to teleport to them. Oh, okay. Well, this answers that question, obviously. So if they're in the dream world and they're healing, they're just revealed by killer instinct. This gives you huge incentive to wake up. If somebody who's asleep rescues you off hook, for example, you wouldn't want them to immediately start healing you under hook. I'm assuming that's the case anyway. It just says healing survivors will be revealed. I don't know if that means that the person doing the healing would also get revealed. So we'll have to see. In any case, if you manage to break chase, healing immediately with a medkit or something becomes that much more dangerous. We're also giving the dream world a slight visual polish, which should help immense players further into the fantasy. We have plans to continue improving this in the future, so keep your eyes out for even more to come. Okay. Change. Sleeping survivors can use any alarm clock to wake up. New. After using an alarm clock, it goes on cooldown for 45 seconds, during which it cannot be used. So all the alarm clocks are available to all the survivors now, but that particular alarm clock goes on cooldown for 45 seconds after it's been used. So another survivor couldn't just run up and use that within that 45 seconds. Okay. Dev note, on the survivor side, we wanted to address a few notable frustrations, mainly around alarm clocks and the general process of waking up. We're confident these changes will improve the experience of playing against the nightmare without having a significant impact on the overall balance. We hope you enjoy this updated version of the nightmare. We'll be keeping a close eye on your feedback, unless, of course, we happen to fall asleep. Okay. Wow. All right, we'll get to the add-ons, but let's just take this in for a second. Now that we have the full context. So we could swap between Dream Snares and Dream Pallets. Both have been buffed. Dream Snares can move at 12 meters a second. Cooldown of 5 seconds. It kind of implies it's like an active thing that you can do. But I guess it's entirely possible that it's not. And then if they're asleep, they get hindered for 4 seconds. And if they're awake, they gain 30 seconds on their sleep meter. Dreamworld is even more effective now, so this works out. Also, you know, making sure they go to sleep more quickly in a chase allows you access to your hindered. The dream pallet thing is super interesting. So the explosion is what causes the 60 seconds to go up on their sleep timer. So I'm guessing using the pallet doesn't do anything different. 1.5 second activation, 3 meter radius. So it's definitely going to be a skill shot sort of thing, but we'll just have to see how this looks in practice. Because you could probably do some really interesting things if you can see exactly where survivors run to after a chase, maybe using Predator or something. Also, Predator on Freddy, thematic. If you know, you know. Teleport, in my opinion, massively buffed. Being able to teleport to block generators and such, and on a lower cooldown. Obviously, not being able to cancel it is a bit of a bummer, but I think the buffs far outweigh that. And then Dreamworld revealing survivors while they're healing. And not only revealing them, but you can teleport to them. Yeah, all in all, this isn't like a complete rework in the purest sense of the term, in my opinion. He's still generally the same, just with a lot of quality of life and buffs. But at the end of the day, they changed him pretty massively here. And these are undeniably buffs to his kit. So I'm really excited to see how this ends up shaking out. I wonder how the Freddy mains are feeling right now, all two of them. All right, we'll take a quick look at the add-ons here. Rounding out this rework is a substantial patch to all Nightmares add-ons, which will incentivize creativity whenever you're preparing your next loadout. While the full list is too long to include, here are a few notable add-ons coming with this update. This isn't everything, but these are some important ones. So Paintbrush was survivors starting the trial in the Dream World. Now it reveals the aura of survivors in the Dream World when they're further than 32 meters away. Increases each survivor's sleep meter by 50%. Okay, so this is what his very first release ability used to do. When he put survivors in the Dream World, if they were a certain distance away from him, their aura would be revealed. So now that's part of Red Paintbrush. Interesting. Is that better than starting the trial in the Dream World? Probably, right? Because survivors are theoretically going to gain sleep progress much more quickly. Also, now that all alarm clocks are available to all survivors, them all starting in the Dream World wouldn't be anywhere near as effective anyway. So this is probably a necessary change to the add-on, and this could be good. I mean, permanent aura reading outside of 32 meters? It's a lot of info. Black Box is the other iridescent. Recently opened exit gates are blocked for 15 seconds. This was the mini Blood Warden. So now exit gates are blocked for sleeping survivors for 15 seconds when they're open. So just a straight nerf. It only affects sleeping survivors, and it's still only for 15 seconds. Seems pretty underwhelming, especially for an iridescent. I mean, this triggers one time in endgame. It's only for 15 seconds. This could maybe net you a hit in the endgame. I don't know if I like that. Not for an iridescent. We have add-ons like Self-Destruct Bolt that give us straight up other perk effects, even stronger than perk effects. Granted, they're somewhat conditional, but I mean, this is a quarter of the time of Blood Warden only on sleeping survivors for an iridescent. Yeah, they either need to make it do something entirely different or just make it 60 seconds or something. And then Swing Chains, sounds of footsteps are 50% louder. This is generally considered not very good, I would assume. Now, after using Dream Projection, blocks all vaults within 60 meters for 6 seconds. Okay. You're somewhat limited on where you can use this. Although, if a survivor is healing in a relatively safe area, like a strong window or something, then you can block off their escape route when teleporting to them. So this has potential to be pretty darn good. It says all vaults. Does that mean down pallets as well? I'm assuming it only means windows. But either way, like I said, strong window in a main building or something, if survivors run there to heal, this could be very good. All right, well, that's it for Freddy. Let's take a look at the rest of the developer update here. We're over halfway done, so not too much left. Realm repeat prevention. To decrease realm repetition, we're implementing a realm prevention system, which will replace the existing map repeat prevention system. That's a mouthful. Yeah, so right now, maps aren't supposed to get repeated twice in a row for anybody in the lobby unless there's an offering brought, and that can override it. It's interesting that this is still in the game because it seems like fairly often it isn't. I guess maybe it's some sort of confirmation bias or something, but it feels like so often maps do get repeated to the point where I was even questioning whether or not he was still in the game. So they go on to say, if you're not familiar, there's a distinction between realms and maps. A realm is a unique world, generally drawn from the memories of a character and contorted into a nightmarish landscape by the entity. Some examples are the Macmillan Estate, Coldwood Farm, Red Forest. Maps are a variety of different locations drawn from within each realm, and while they're different from one another, this system will ensure you never be sent to the same realm for back-to-back trials. Note that using map offerings will override the system. So they've gone a level further. So now instead of just saying you won't get Cold Tower twice in a row, they're saying you won't get 2 Macmillan maps twice in a row, which is good. I think that's even better in a lot of ways. But all in all, is this huge? Not really. I think there's more concerns about how insane map offerings can be at times that realistically, how often is this even going to come into play? People are running map offerings pretty much every single game. So a welcome change, but I don't know how impactful it necessarily is. All right, Deep Wound update. While experienced players have grown familiar with the Deep Wound mechanic and mending, it has been a continuous source of confusion for newer players. Okay. To help clarify things, we've implemented a visual update similar to the anti-face camp bar. This bar will be a lot easier to track, appearing front and center in the UI and remaining there until you're fully mended. That's the image that they tweeted out, I think, yesterday. We've also reduced the blood splatter and darkening effects that appear whenever you're in the deep wound state. Several subtle visual updates will now be added to the bar, highlighting the dire nature of the status. Check out the screenshot below. Okay, so this is just a new way of showing that you're in deep wounds and what the progress is. That's fine. I mean, if it makes it clear to new players, by all means, I'm always down with updates to the UI that improve clarity and that sort of thing. So, and finally, free character trials. Oh, wait, hold on. We had shards back in the day to let you try out killers. Is this going to be something similar? Dead by Daylight features a massive and growing roster of characters to make matters even more complex. Each character brings 3 unique perks into the game, with killers having an additional power to learn and master. It can be especially tricky to gauge which characters might suit your preferred playstyle. Longtime players may even remember specific offerings to let you play as a killer you didn't own, giving you a taste of what they're capable of. Yep, that was the shards. We're excited to be launching a new system that will allow you to use specific characters for free during an event period while in the event's queue. Note that only select characters will be available, chosen at our discretion, but they'll be accessible to everyone. While this will be for a limited time with restricted access to the blood web, it'll allow players to really get a feel for a new character and even complete character-specific challenges. Interesting. Okay. So it'll be a rotating free pool. These characters will only be available within a specific queue. Will that be available all the time and just rotate out periodically, or will the entire event only be available periodically? And it's neat that you can complete character-specific challenges with the characters in this. So if you didn't want to buy a specific killer, but still wanted to complete the challenges for a tome or something, you could do that. All in all, this could really only be a good thing. They do say restricted access to the blood web. I wonder how the situation with perks and such will go. How I'm assuming that they're going to do it is it'll be the same as every other character, where you get the perks that you have prestiges of for other characters. You'll be able to buy perks and add-ons from the blood web. I don't know what restricted access necessarily means. Maybe you can only go up to a certain level or something. I would also assume that everything you purchase would stay on the character, so that if you unlock them later, you'll still have everything. Obviously, only time will tell. I'm more interested to know if the event queue will remain in permanent rotation with just what's available being rotated out. That could also be really interesting as a way to sort of limit what you're able to go against. Because if there's only, say, 5 killers, 5 survivors, and only their perks are available or something, it might be interesting to queue up in this mode just so you know you're not going against certain things. Now, that being said, if it's more open and that all the perks are available, if you have already unlocked them and that sort of thing, that would kind of limit the usefulness of such a queue in that sense. But knowing you could only go against certain killers is kind of appealing. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this gets implemented. And that's it for today's dev update. Thanks for sticking with us, and we can't wait to see you trying out the Nightmare in our upcoming PTB. Until next time. All right. Well, they don't say that the PTB is going to be available this week, which I thought was going to be the case anyway. I thought it wasn't going to be available this week. Normally, there's a week or two delay when they're coming back from the winter vacations from the normal schedule. So with the developer update coming out today, we'll probably see the PTB next week. Obviously, don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. But all in all, getting a huge update for Freddy is a win, regardless. These other things are nice, but not necessarily super consequential. But we'll just have to see how the Freddy update looks. I've played a lot of Freddy in the past, but he's not a killer that I've played a lot recently. So I'm going to be deferring to more seasoned Freddy players on how all these changes look. I'm assuming they'll at least be happy that this is all basically huge buffs to him. But we'll see what they think about how they can make use of the new abilities and such. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you like this rundown and want to see more, please make sure that you subscribe, leave a like. Let me know if there's anything I got wrong in the comments, or if you have any thoughts about the various changes here, especially Freddy. I'm interested in hearing about it. I'll catch you guys next time.